Hello, this is Rudy Giuliani, and this is the Rudy Giuliani Show. And today, the president was in Saudi Arabia. It looked to me like he came right off the airplane and just went right into everything. I am assuming, although I haven't talked to him, that he slept on the airplane. Although he doesn't often do that. He does at times, but he doesn't often do that. And then he went through really a very, very uplifting and terrific thing for America, which is really reestablishing our relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, you say reestablishing because Biden, at the very beginning of his administration, attacked the man you see right there, Mohammed bin Salman, who is the effective ruler. His father is very, very aged and sickly, and as they describe Mohammed bin Salman as MBS. The condemnation by Biden led to Saudi Arabia establishing somewhat of a relationship with China and somewhat of a relationship even with their mortal enemy, Iran, because they had to protect themselves, given the fact that they were not sure of American protection, or where Biden was. I mean, Biden seemed to clearly favor Iran over them. And Biden, like most Democrats, had held Mohammed bin Salman responsible for the killing of Khashoggi, the kind of journalist, but also kind of spy. Hard to tell exactly who or what Khashoggi was doing. The left wing immediately made him into a martyr. He hadn't been one before that, and came to the conclusion that MBS was behind it. And Trump said, hold up, that there's no proof of that. The reality is, this is a country we rely on to a very, very large extent as one of our allies against a country that is committed to the destruction of the state of Israel and ultimately America. And before we convict him, without even a grand jury investigation, maybe we should give him the benefit of the doubt. So that kind of carried over into the Biden administration. He immediately condemned him. And then a few years into it, when Biden was desperate to keep the price of oil down, when he had hit gasoline prices that were, he hit inflation that we hadn't seen in like 50 years, and gasoline prices were going through the roof. He went and begged Mohammed bin Salman for some relief. He got a little relief, but not much. And Saudi Arabia has never really completely and solidly come into our camp. We were developing quite a good coalition south of Iran, meaning we had put Israel together with just about all of the other Arab countries except Saudi Arabia. And the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel is a very good one behind the scenes. So today's trip was a critical trip for any number of reasons. First of all, if you want to in any way ameliorate the problem in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia has to be a player in that. And second, if you want to maintain America's position as the leading country in the world, not China, then it's got to be an extremely close relationship with Saudi Arabia, and they've got to be kept away with doing anything to help China. And finally, if your eventual commitment is to making certain that Iran is never, ever, 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 ever a nuclear power, then you deserve a lot of benefits from Saudi Arabia, because you're pulling their chestnuts out of the fire like you are Israel, like you are the United States. It may very well be that the deepest, strongest, and certainly the longest term animosity is between Persia and Saudi Arabia, or now Iran and Saudi Arabia. We're talking about a hatred that goes back pre-Muhammad, pre-Jesus Christ. And it's in the blood. Arabs and Persians do not look at the world the same way. And then you divide the Arabs as Sunnis mostly, certainly in Saudi Arabia, and Iran as Shiite. And now you got a double ethnic, religious, vicious animosity, which is what brings Yemen into it, because it's the Shia minority in Yemen that side in with Iran. So without tracing all of that, let's say this was a critical trip. And this is a critical ally, and not an easy one. You know, Israel's an easy ally. They're a good country, despite all of the bull. They're a very, very good country. They're a very moral country. There aren't any issues about them. They don't have to maintain very, very close hold on the street in order to maintain power, which is what Saudi Arabia has to do. But it's an enormously important relationship for us, and an enormously important relationship for Europe, through us, really, and an enormously important relationship for Israel. And our mutual understanding of the danger of Iran really makes it even stronger than it ordinarily would be. So let's listen to the president, who was remarkably cogent and awake. I really do think he got right off the plane. Well, I think we saw him come off the plane. Let's play some of his talk. Let's play some of his talk this morning. Maybe God Bless the USA. That was playing. I think that's number 3. Could we put it up so I can hear it? Well, that's because also of what I'm wearing. It's unfortunate. I can change it if you want. We can go get a black jacket, you know. Well, you see that it was quite a America First introduction, wasn't it? I would say that's absolutely for sure. And then let's take a look at any of the other footage we have to show them what happened there. Well, maybe we'll play number 5, the tea incident. Now, I have to tell you, this makes me very nostalgic for my trips to Doha and to actually to both Dubai, Qatar, and the Emirates. I worked for quite some time in Qatar. During the course of that, the president was offered tea and didn't take the tea, which was seen as a very somehow a significant gesture that he was afraid to. I have a feeling if they had checked with me, I mean, if MBS had called me, I would have said, see what happens if you give him a little Diet Coke. It may turn out that it may very well turn out that he'll take that. So I don't know that I don't think I'd make a big deal out of his turning down. So they've also announced, Saudi Arabia announced as part of this, a $600 billion investment. And I think this happened, if we play number 4, I think this happened when MBS was driving the president around in one of their, whatever they have, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, combinations of hybrids of Rolls Royces and Bentleys. I mean, their wealth is like, as I said, I've never been there, but I mean, per capita, Qatar is as wealthy, and possibly the Emirates, right? When you put Dubai and as part of the Emirates, it's hard to say. I mean, there was a while when Qatar was per capita more wealthy per capita, although in terms of actual wealth, very hard to top Saudi Arabia. So let's see if we can play number 4. So that is a greeting of, that is not religious, that's ethnic, ceremonial, I think. That's a ceremonial greeting. And MBS is driving the president around to show him the work they're doing there. Because the president, just loves all of this. He noted during his speech how many more buildings were up since the last time he was there, which of course takes him back to his original business of building buildings like that, of which there are on that desert now, probably a record number of skyscrapers. I mean, when you think about Dubai and Qatar before you even get to Saudi Arabia, they're unbelievable numbers of them. Now, there is, of course, there's controversy, right? And the controversy right now is over the offer from Saudi Arabia to give the United States an airplane, an Air Force One, because the new Air Force One that was supposed to be delivered 2 years ago, maybe 3, is now delayed for some ungodly period of time, and the second one that's supposed to back it up is delayed.
And that's the Qataris that are
no. This is being the Qataris are going to either give or loan this plane, and the original, at least the original leak was they were going to give the United States Defense Department the plane. It was going to be used as a backup as they keep switching planes around, or maybe used as the main plane for a while. And then eventually, when the 2 new Air Force Ones are in, it was either going to be returned to Qatar, or it was going to be given to the Trump library. Now, this has created a great deal of consternation and controversy. Even though presidents have gotten gifts like this forever, President Rutherford B. Hayes, for example, was given the 1,300-pound desk from Queen Victoria in 1880. It happens to be the desk that Trump, Biden, and many American presidents used, probably the most favorite one, the Resolute desk. It was removed in February for refinishing, maybe to make sure Biden didn't leave any recorders in it. Who knows? We've also, Churchill gave Roosevelt some very, very valuable paintings.
Were they his own paintings?
He did one that eventually, after it was let out by the Roosevelt family, went on the market and has actually now reached a price of $11.5 million.
That seems fair.
Bill Clinton got a handmade, enormously expensive handmade rug woven by very, very expert craftsman Azerbaijan. It was a 6x5 rug. President Bush got 300 pounds of raw lamb and a puppy from the Bulgarian president, Georgy Parvanov, and his father got a Komodo dragon by the president of Indonesia. That, I guess, was given to the zoo, right? And the most controversial gift of all, it's what created the Emoluments Act. And that was a snuff box made of gold and 408 diamonds that was given by Louis XVI of France to Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, only
in
that
1780.
is the only way that makes sense, right?
That's why the Constitution has an emoluments clause. Everybody was jealous that good old Ben got the big gift.
But man, those French were so rich, huh? Back right.
Yeah, they were like the Saudis.
But hey, what do you think here? I mean,
the fact is that
I think this could use a paint job, though. To be honest, it needs an American paint job.
Oh yeah, that's easy to do. But I mean, the president. The only issue here would be if he took it for his library. If he took it for his library, it would be too close to the Emoluments Act for safety, because it's hard to say. It's hard to say. How do you separate his library from him? It is. I mean, you could make the argument it's not worth it.
But go take a flight and see if that's your opinion afterwards.
No.
I heard it's a very, very nice.
You know
plane.
my rule on this.
I know.
I mean, they could give me the moon, and I tell them to stuff it. There shouldn't be any question here. If he takes it for his use during the presidency, and they are offsetting a massive expense that we would have, or it's kept with the United States government, I don't see any problem with that at all.
I feel like this is almost
That's no different than today. Mohammed bin Salman pledged already. He's made a big chunk of it, a $650 billion investment in the United States, broken down into specific categories, which I think the president wants to leave with $1 trillion worth. So it's not really very much different if you're giving it to the United States.
There's time, right? I think he could get $1 trillion.
Well, he'll get $1 trillion.
Yeah.
You don't think Mohammed bin Salman didn't leave a little room in there for? That's like when somebody negotiates with you, right? They're never going to offer you if they're a shrewd businessman, they're never going to offer you the highest price originally.
That room was just packed with players, huh?
Yeah, packed with the richest people in the world. It made the world. It made the World Trade Forum look like a poor man's Mohammed bin Salman financial conference.
Oh, those three guys in the front row could buy and sell the WEF like 20 times.
Yeah. So also, today was the day in which we announced the China deal. And when we come back, we'll take a short break right now. But when we come back, I'll describe it to you because, again, this is a very, very important step toward a deal that could be breathtaking if it actually works. There's a 90-day period. During the 90-day period, they say, well, the president didn't get anything. Well, I will explain to you that since these people can't do arithmetic. The end result of it is that for 90 days, they put a tariff of 10% on us, and we put a tariff of 30% on them. Did you hear what I just said? They put a tariff of 10% on us, and we put a tariff of 30% on them. Now, it is not going to involve steel, aluminum, cars, which are going to be at the much higher tariff that we announced. Or it might even have a 25% additional tariff on it. And also, in the details, something enormously important, they've lifted the embargo on the rare earth minerals. Wow. That's not getting anything? Man, the Wall Street Journal is so unfair. They're the biggest on this tariff thing. And so far, he's gotten so much from the United States by using these tariffs. They should sort of bow down and kiss his feet. We'll be right back. And maybe between now and then they will.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysts are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts, and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Welcome back. This is Rudy Giuliani, and we are going to move from the trip to Saudi Arabia, which netted us just going in 650 million. Billion. What am I thinking? Boy, I'm still a poor kid from Brooklyn, huh? 650 billion. I'm telling you, before he gets back, it'll be $1 trillion. Mark my words. Now he's headed, I think Qatar is the next stop, if I'm not mistaken, which is the place I'm the most familiar with. If he gets there at any time in which I can narrate, I can tell you every street just about. I even spent one partial summer in Qatar. That is wicked. And I've played golf there in their weather. Qatar at the time was much less controversial than it is now, because the old emir, the father of the present emir, was a pretty uncomplicated friend of the United States. No backdoor relationship or much that I could see with Iran, and none with China or any of the other places. He loved the United States. He loved Bush. And yours truly, he came and spent time with me during September 11. He donated a tremendous amount of money, not only to the families, the 9/11 families, and he wasn't the Saudi Arabian I gave the money back to, because he was completely uninvolved in anything having to do with September 11, and was sincerely very upset because he didn't want to see a war between the Arab world or the Islamic world in the United States. And if there was one, he was on our side. He is the one that expanded our air base there. We used that air base to tremendous maximum advantage in the immediate turnaround. Well, originally, actually, we used the base in Florida to attack Afghanistan, but quickly we switched to Qatar, where we have, we say 10,000 troops. We have a lot more than that in the northern part of Qatar. And so when you're in, or now I haven't been there in 10 years. So, and not only that, I don't know that I'm too welcome there because I did a great deal of work for them, helping them get ready for the Asian Games, which I started in about 2002 or 2003 with Giuliani Security and Safety, which was a worldwide company at the time. And my partner, Bernie Carrick, of course, was heavily involved with me in doing that. And we reorganized their police department. We reorganized all their security efforts, and we trained them in crowd management and crowd control and advised them on the buildings of the stadiums, some of which then carried over into the World Cup. But that's a different story. But all during that time, their relationship with the United States was like this, very, very solid. And I can tell you that personally because there's some of the things that I can tell you that personally. I lost contact with them a bit. The son, who's now the emir that the president will meet with, threw out the old man, threw out the father, and has pursued a somewhat different path of trying to be, I think their best case scenario is they're going to be a Switzerland. The worst case scenario is they're playing two sides against the middle. Maybe their best case scenario is they're kind of a Tito. Now, what that means is Tito was the head of Yugoslavia before it all fell apart, until the communist era ended and Yugoslavia fell apart into Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovakia, Slovenia. I mean, just go on and on and on. But and the worst case scenario is he plays way too much with the Hamas murderers, particularly the multi-billionaire ones who he gives refuge there, and with Iran, which led to almost a war between the country he's leaving, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, where he's going on one hand, and Qatar on the other. There was a major blockade of Qatar. That's kind of over now. Are the feelings over? I don't know. Now, why am I not as welcome there as I used to be? Because I was asked at some point by the government of Bahrain to help them with security work because they get attacked by Iran regularly. And although they have a relatively good police force, and they are probably by far and without any doubt the most modern of the Arab countries, that goes so far as they've had a Jewish woman as an ambassador to the United Nations, and they've had several Jewish people in their government. They also allow the physical display of crosses and stars of David, whereas the other places allow the practice of Christianity and Judaism, but either don't allow or want downplayed greatly any physical suggestion of a religion other than Islam. Bahrain's very different. Always been a trendsetter in that sense. For their good work, they're treated to almost an attack per month by the reign of terror, biggest funder of which was the Obama and Biden administrations. They come in, they kill some Bahrainis and try to let them know we can take you over anytime we want. So we help them work on security programs to bolster the security programs they already had, which was not the same kind of job as in Qatar, where we really had to almost kind of build a police force. They already have a good security force. And as a result of that, Qatar threatened me and told me that they would never do business with me again if I did business with Bahrain. And I don't like people doing that to me. I don't like people who do that. I said, Bahrain is an ally of the United States like you are. They're suffering from a problem from a very, very big enemy of the United States. And I'm sorry. And they pointed out to me how much more profitable they could be than Bahrain. And I said, well, after all, I'm not a communist. I do like money. It really is good, but I like principle in my country much better. So I went to work for Bahrain and had a wonderful, wonderful experience with a king who dresses up like a regular person. I got to dig out my picture of it and show you. It's the most amazing thing in the world. But we'll have to see if the president can. That's another reason why I'd go slow with this airplane from Qatar. They're not as firmly grounded on our side as I'd like, as Saudi Arabia is. Now, you'd find that strange coming from me because there were 15 Saudis involved in the attack on the World Trade Center. That's a different Saudi government. That's before MBS. And the nature of that was not that they, it's hard to describe Saudi Arabia's role back then. It wasn't good. And it's the reason I turned down the money. And it's also the reason why back then I'd do business with Qatar, which was a straight out ally of the United States then, and even Dubai. But I was kind of reluctant with Saudi Arabia. But MBS has changed it a lot. And even back then, they were our ally and our friend, and they would do business with Israel constantly behind their back, behind everyone's back. And I knew that because I was very friendly with two of the prime ministers of Israel. But I guess the best way I could put it without causing controversy is they had to be, Saudi Arabia has to be extremely cognizant of what they call the street. Now, what is the street? The street are the Sunni Islamic extremists. Now, we have Shia extremists. That makes up Iran, the Houthis, Hezbollah. But and the Shia extremists are probably, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I do think they're a little more over the top than the Sunni ones, even though they're the ones who attacked us. But the Sunni extremists are no bargain either. They're the ones who took over the Syria government and are killing Christians. And the royal family would like to see them all go away. But until they go away, they are a grave risk to the life and the future of the royal family of Saudi Arabia. And rather than pursue a policy of diminishing them and crushing them, they pursued a policy of sort of placating them. So they pretend to be much more supportive of Palestine than they really are, even though they don't take any Palestinians in. They will give money to them. A period of time in the 80s and 90s, they built a lot of the Islamic structures all around the world, bankrolled them, some of which were completely legitimate and some of which were used by extremists. Their involvement in 9/11, governmental involvement, which, I'm not privy to the secret, what the secret files may or may not say, but I would find it strange that they would be involved in anything bin Laden was doing, because he was persona non grata, as far as they were concerned, for quite some time. Although his family was part of the royal family structure. He had left and denounced them and made some terrible statements about them. And so, anything could happen, and I've not ruled out anything, but I'd be very surprised if there was a direct involvement. But in any event, they were Saudis, but a certain percentage of the Saudis want to overthrow the royal family. Probably are as big an enemy to it as Iran is. So it's a very complicated situation, which is now a little bit more history than anything else, because MBS has kind of moved them on from that to a different set of challenges. But we can be pretty sure that if we can solve this is a big if, right? If we can solve the Palestinian issue, we can put together a tripartite alliance between the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. And until we do, Saudi Arabia will be an ally of Israel behind the scenes, and certainly not try to prevent. Saudi Arabia could have prevented if they wanted the Emirates from reaching an agreement with Israel back when Trump negotiated those historic agreements. But if anything, they encouraged them. So it's very complicated. Thank God we have a president who has a complicated mind, and not a half a nitwit or a complete nitwit in the White House, or a pro-Islamic like Obama, pro-Islamic, in some cases extremist like Obama. What do you call someone who gives billions of dollars to the biggest supporter of terrorism in the world in cash? I mean, the press calls him President Obama. I call him a traitor, without any doubt. It's not even questionable. You give money to the Ayatollah, that's no different than giving money to bin Laden. It boggles the mind. So the deal with China is, instead of our 145% tariff, which sometimes goes up to 250%, which is really off the wall, right? And their 130% tariff on us. The United States and China, as a result of the meetings in Switzerland this weekend, for which we have to credit the Secretary of the Treasury and our delegation, there's a 90-day deal, which the people who, of course, are pathologically anti-tariff will not credit and say, he just backed off. He didn't get anything out. This is a Wall Street Journal. He didn't get anything out of it. He didn't do blah, 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 blah. Well, how about this? So for the next 90 days, we're going to do pretty well. China has put a tariff of 10% on us for 90 days. And we've put a tariff of 30% on China. Who did better in that? Ted, I mean, I know a lot of kids don't know math anymore, but if you're getting 30%, I'm only getting 10. Who's doing better?
Usually I'm doing better, depending.
Yeah, depending on what? Depending on nothing.
Depending on what the percentage what we're dividing up.
Yeah, well, we're dividing up pretty much, hundreds of billions of dollars in trade.
Yeah, then you want the higher number. This isn't golf.
Yeah, like it's 3-1. Then we get to maintain our tariffs on cars, on steel, and on aluminum, so that we can build our car industry, our steel industry back up again, and our aluminum industry. We also are going to maintain, and that difference, by the way, that difference of 20% is all due to the fact that they have not come across with a plan that is at all suitable to the president on controlling fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
That the 20% is a fentanyl penalty tax.
Right.
And they, for the first time ever, brought a delegation to Switzerland who tried to lay out a fentanyl plan, which I guess there wasn't enough time to really evaluate as to how credible it will be. So I guess China can relieve itself of that if it convinces us or actually shows us that it can have an impact on fentanyl, which is, of course, enormously important to us because so many people die of it in the United States every year. So this is a 90-day, consider it a 90-day truce. And the president has warned that if they don't agree after the 90 days, then we will go up to a much higher tariff than 30%. I think the bare minimum are probably about 85. Well, when that happened, the stock market yesterday, when they found out about it, even anticipating it, it earned back everything that it lost since Liberation Day. You know how the Journal and everybody else is saying that Trump has ruined our economy and the market, and well, it's all back to where it was. Not only that, the forecast of recession has dwindled to almost nothing. The projections of growth have expanded, and why, instead of going crazy like that, like the market, why don't they listen to me? If you go back, you'll see I predicted. I didn't think it happened as quickly as this. Today, I think the market had a little decline. I think it went wild yesterday, probably beyond. I mean, they're always, if they're just trading every day, they're really good. But when they get emotional, one way or the other, when they go down, they always probably go down too much. And when they go up, they always go up a little too much. So I don't know what the end of the day was today. You know, like on Liberation Day, when the market was first at a high, it was at 42,225. It finished yesterday, 42,410. In other words, higher than the point that it was when it started to fall. What happened today?
Mr. Mayor, it was up. Well, S&P 500 was up about 42, so about 0.72%, and the Dow was actually off. It was down 269 points,
which would put it exactly where it was on Liberation.
And regular volatility. This is not even a blip.
No, but the reality is, if you do the arithmetic, it's almost exactly where it was on April 2nd. So if you sold during that period of time, you made a terrible mistake. Or maybe not. Some of these stocks, it isn't like uniform that every stock recovered and every stock declined. But if you by and large, if you're in a fund, you probably got hurt if you pulled some of your money out, because your money is back where it was. Like if you're in a retirement fund that just leaves it there, you're exactly back to where you were when it was at its high. It went a little above that yesterday. It came right back down to a teeny bit. So please, there's no comparison to the way Trump runs our economy and Biden. There's no comparison to the way a Republican runs our economy compared to a Democrat. Go look at American cities and states. They have become a menace. Not only are they an ideological and moral menace, but they're a financial menace. The China deal also, very, very quietly, has restored all of the trading in rare earth minerals, which for the time being is still pretty important, because our deal with Ukraine, although it is expected to yield some very, very quick results, I'm sure it's not this quick. So over the next, we had a 2 or 3 month supply anyway. So because we've been going all over the world trying to get rare earth minerals, as well as looking within our own country as to what we can do. But this will now, give us 3 more months, which, given the rapidity with which we operate, which is Trump time now, I mean, that could be a major, major difference. So the Wall Street Journal will say he was back doing let's forget it, okay? So this is a very, very worthwhile deal, a very good one. And following the one with the UK, I am told that the deal with India is done, but for the signing. I believe the deal, which I said would be the next one, and I lost on that one, because originally I said the first deal would be UK. I was right on that. Then I said the next one would be Vietnam. Well, the next one now is China. Although this is not a permanent deal. It really depends on which one they announce. Vietnam is done. India is done. Japan was done. I think Japan is done, but for the fact that the prime minister wants a trip to Washington, to tell you the truth. I think the next deal is going to depend on who we can see next in Washington, right, and make a nice big ceremony with them.
I agree.
Whether it's Modi or it's the prime minister of Vietnam, and the prime minister of Vietnam, it seems to me, wants to poke his finger in China's eye, right, because China is. And they've calmed it down since we socked them. That's another thing that the Wall Street Journal, they have really calmed down quite a bit when they got socked in the face. Not only that, their financial chaos has been revealed to the world. They're having a very hard time now not having it covered. that they are in financial chaos. Their prediction of their passing our economy in 10 years, now, I mean, there are people saying if they are going to do it at all, it won't be until the end of the century. So this has created a certain transparency that China could not avoid. Now you've seen even articles that all their statistics are inaccurate. I mean, someday we should really try to figure out how many people died from COVID and how many people they killed with COVID overseas. I mean, every death is attributable to the Chinese Communist Party and to Xi Jinping personally, because he sent the merchants of death around. It's not even close as to whether that happened. And of course, that he was protected in doing that by the Democrat Party, who condemned Trump for cutting off the Chinese from coming into the United States. It was the smartest thing you could do. So the China deal shows when the chips are down, they have to cave into us by 30-10 at least, huh? And the minerals are coming to the United States. You think they want to give us those minerals? What the hell do you think they're doing the monopoly on it for if they want to give it to us, right? Now, in the interim, we made a little money. In the interim, we set a record for tariff collections. The month of April, or is it March? The month of April was up from 48 billion to 63 billion? Oh, and overall, so far, we have a budget surplus of $258 billion, which is up 48% just in April. So we don't have budget surpluses too often. I don't know how long we're going to run it, but that's as a result of our tariff, from our tariffs. The previous record for tariff collections was 9.6 billion. You know how much we collected in April? 9.6 billion was the previous. 63 billion. Now that's gonna level off. You can't have it both ways, but it's going to level off with beneficial effects for our entire economy, and it may not level off completely as these now almost avalanche of investments keep continuing, because they're not just investments; they're building businesses in the United States that previously they had elsewhere. So another record that Trump can put in the books. He has a record with the least number of people coming over the border. Now he's got a record with the largest tariff collection in a 1 month period, at least that we can go back and determine. As you know, the last American hostage was released, Eden Alexander, yesterday, and the family was quite effusive in their praise of the president and his administration for the work that they did. Remember, 90% of the time he was there under Biden. And may I use this word because it's worth it. And Biden did shit to get them out. Biden did nothing to get any of them out. Biden did less than Carter did in trying to get out the hostages. Never even paid attention to them. It was very much like he treated the people he got killed in Afghanistan when they came back, and he went to the ceremony with his keeper, the first stepmother at the time. He was there, and she couldn't stop him from looking at his watch. He didn't want to be there. I mean, what the heck? It's uncomfortable being in a place where you got the people killed and the families are looking at you like they hate you. So Trump got another hostage out, and that was the last one, Eden Alexander, and his family had something to say about that. And why don't we play that? That's number 10, the video of the parents of Eden Alexander and their press conference.
It is taking place, and I think you may have a good result out of the Thursday meeting in Turkey between Russia and Ukraine. And I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday.
That was not, in case you noticed, Eden Alexander's parents. That was the president. I'm pretty flexible. I can change stories. I mean, that's the president announcing now. Well, I don't know if he's announcing he's going or not, but there's going to be a meeting in Turkey to try to resolve the situation in Ukraine. And it's going to be, I think, the first face-to-face meeting between Putin and Zelensky. And, you know, the only way we're going to find out who will give what is if we put them together in a room. And then we'll see what can happen. Nothing may happen, but at least you got to try it. I mean, there's nobody that is trying harder to save lives, whether it's in the Middle East or in Ukraine, than the president. I mean, even Zelensky isn't doing anywhere near as much to try to save the lives of his own people. He never has, really. I mean, it almost seemed for a period of time that he's pretty content with the flow of money. And Putin, of course, has no regard for human life. So is it possible? Is it possible to play Eden Alexander's parents?
It is wonderful to have it done home. Really a gift from God to watch him hug Yael, his brother, and his sister, knowing that his suffering is over and that our family can finally begin to heal. First and foremost, I want to thank President Trump, Ambassador Witkoff, and the Special Envoy Boller. During our family reunion, Ambassador Witkoff was waking up America's officials at 3 a.m. on the East Coast just to share the good news and encourage them to speak with our family. We'll never be able to express what that means to us, but we never, ever forget the tireless effort on Idan's behalf. For our family's joyful day, for which we are in incredible debt and gratitude, soon Idan will be home in the United States, in New Jersey, watching his little brother play basketball, reuniting with his friends in New Jersey. He's 21 now, and those happy times may include a beer or two, but we will never forget the first beer he had on the rooftop of this very building since his release. Idan's release is not just about our family. Because of the leadership of the President, it also means that tomorrow, literally tomorrow, a new negotiation will begin that could lead to the release of more hostages and eventually the end of this war. For me personally and for my family, the effort to bring home all 58 hostages will continue until they are all home. We're hopeful that these negotiations will lead to that moment for all other families. Thank you.
Now, isn't that a happy moment? That's what makes being president worth it. And I got to tell you, that's what made being mayor when I could save lives or help people. Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Steve. You know, Steve Witkoff gets a lot of criticism because he's on the tip of the spear. That one makes up for a lot of it. Nothing like saving lives. Wow. If you're a Christian or a Jew or a member of Western civilization, I would like to emphasize the fact, and you go criticize me if you want, that there's no civilization in the history of the world that values human life, even with the degradation that has happened with some of our Marxist-influenced, insane kids and whatever people, than Western civilization. And that's why and we share that like this with Israel, the importance of human life. So it's wonderful to see the family. Do we have, I have to say, do we also have the video of Eden reuniting with his family and then him thanking President Trump? Oh, there he is. Look at the smile on his face. Well, we're going to end with that, and we're going to go over to X now at 8 o'clock. But that is pure joy. It's the joy of your life being saved. And whatever the president and Steve and everybody else has gone through, just looking at that makes all of it worth it. It also, I have a message for Pope Leo the 14th. Please look a little further than you have at Donald Trump and see his humanity. That wouldn't have happened without him. That wouldn't have happened without him. Well, pray for the remaining hostages that they're delivered safe and sound, that the war is over, that the war is over in Ukraine, and that the people of Iran are brought to freedom and out from under the reign of terror, and that the people of the United States continue to be thankful for the blessings that God has given them, and continue to go through this golden age where we're really relying on the lessons of our founding fathers to root America in a solid foundation so it can take off for the stars. So go over to X now. Tomorrow night we'll be back on Lindell TV and then on X. And in a few minutes, we'll be continuing on X. God bless America.